Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah set the foundation of the human condition in Surah Al-Insan. Man, the humankind, was created from nutfah, something that is small, insignificant. Then Allah gave him hearing and sight, not certainty, not authority, but perception. And only after that does Allah declare the test. This order matters. It tells us that the world is not presented to us as raw truth, but as something experienced through veils and filters. We do not meet reality that Allah created directly. We meet it through our senses that learn, adapt, and repeat. And that repetition shapes our beliefs. This is where the Qalb is tested. In the modern age, psychology had stumbled upon a truth the Qur'an more than 1400 years ago had already diagnosed. Ivan Pavlov observed that a dog began to salivate not because food was present, but because a neutral signal was presented. A bell had been repeatedly rang and paired with food. And over time, the dog's body responded to the bell as if nourishment itself had arrived. Reality for the dog had not changed. Only association had. The nervous system learned to predict. The response became automatic. The stimulus was mistaken for the cause. Now, if you note, this is not actually an animal problem, and nor is it a human problem. The Qalb has been trained by repetition. Water follows thirst, so the heart will credit water for quenching that thirst. Fire follows heat, so the heart fears the fire because it may burn. Money follows relief, so the heart learns to trust money because it solves problems. Systems follow stability, so the heart learns and leans on to systems for support. Slowly, quietly, association becomes causal belief. The Qur'an does not deny patterns. It exposes their lack of authority. Now, there are many examples in the Qur'an that has been presented, and one of them is the most obvious is in Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Allah asked Prophet Musa, "What is in your hand?" And Musa answered honestly, "It is my staff. I lean on it. I use it to shepherd my sheep." This is not arrogance. It is familiarity. Years of association. Support has always followed this object. Then Allah commands him to throw the staff down. And in that moment, the association collapses. What once provided stability becomes something uncontrollable. In fact, fear, very full of, it's fearsome. Musa flees, not because the staff changed, but because the command changed. The staff never had the ability nor the power. It only had obedience. Then another example. Consider Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Fire is the strongest association known to man because heat burns, flame destroys. This pattern is ancient and universal. Even a child understands it. Yet when Ibrahim alayhi salam is thrown into the fire, Allah commands it to be cool and safe. And fire obeys instantly. Fire did not lose its nature. It was reminded it has no authority. Now, these and many more are not stories of spectacle. They are corrective interventions. Allah is actually teaching us that shirk does not begin with idols as we may have understood. It begins when the heart assigns independent power to what is all only commanded by Allah. This is why shirk is often invisible. The tongue maintains belief while the qalb practice delegation and association. A person still says, La ilaha illallah, but the heart reacts as if water quenches, money secures, people protect, systems guarantee. This is Pavlov at the level of the human soul. Repeated pairing trains expectation. An expectation triggers a response, a human response. Response bypasses reflection, and the heart salivates before truth can ever arrive. Now, this explains why faith can coexist with anxiety, why belief survives while reliance fractures. The heart has been conditioned. This dunya reinforces this conditioning daily. It rewards predictability. It punishes hesitation. It teaches the heart to trust what appears consistent. When consistency breaks, panic follows, not because Allah failed, but because false associations were exposed. So how do we reclaim this for the qalb? First of all, and importantly, we need to relearn the kalima, the negation. La ilaha is not a slogan. It is active dismantling. No object, no system, no pattern carries authority or power. Second, by interrupting attribution immediately. When relief comes, the heart must be corrected before association settles. Allah commanded this, literally. Say Alhamdulillah and associate Allah's greatness to it. Third, by disrupting reflex. Fear that rises automatically must be challenged consciously. The stimulus is not the source. Fourth, anchor shukr as a theology. Gratitude is not etiquette. It is calibration. It restores the true map of causality. Subhanallah. The dunya will always feel autonomous. That is part of the test. The screen will always look real. The bell will always ring. But the believer learns to pause before salivating. La ilaha illallah is not absent from this world. It is deeply buried beneath habit and perception. Guarding the qalb is the lifelong work of untraining false associations and returning authority back to where it needs to belong. Until the heart no longer responds to conditioning, but to the command. That is Tawhid lived. That is deeper awareness. That is protection for the qalb. Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.